This is Fulfillment OB Everyday One Leadership Truth under 6 minutes. Let's get into it. So stay with me till the end of this episode because what I'm about to share, most leaders have felt it for years and never heard anyone name it loud. There's a pressure that comes with leadership that nobody prepares you for. Not the pressure of hitting targets, not the pressure of managing a team, not the pressure of cash flow of competition or growth. Those pressure are visible. People talk about those. There are framework for those. The pressure I'm talking about today is different. It's the pressure of having to hold everything together while appearing like holding everything together costs you nothing. The pressure of walking into a room full of people who are looking at you for certainty when privately you are not certain about anything. The pressure of carrying the full weight of your vision that nobody around you can fully see yet. That pressure has no name in most leadership conversation, but every leader in this space knows exactly what it feels like. So here's what this pressure actually requires from you every single day. A performance, not in a dishonest way, but in a very real way. You pay what I call a performance tax every time you walk into a room as a leader. You cannot show the full weight of what you are carrying. You cannot tell the team, see uncertainty behind the decision. You cannot tell your investors or your clients or your partner, sense the doubt that lives underneath the confidence you project. So you manage it, you compress it, you tuck it somewhere internal, and you show up the way the role requires you to show up. And then you go home and you're exhausted in a way that has nothing to do with how much you worked or how much work you did that day. Because the most draining thing you did was not work. It was the performance of being okay when you were not fully okay. So why nobody talks about this is this. Because the moment you name it, you feel like you are complaining. You chose this, you built this, you wanted the responsibility. So who are you to talk about how heavy it is? And that guilt, that sense of admitting the pressure is somehow ungrateful. It keeps most leaders completely silent about the things that is costing them the most. So it accumulates quietly underneath every meeting and every decision and every conversation. And because there is no honest feedback flowing back to you about it, because the people around you are not seeing the full picture, because the unity between how you actually feel and how you present yourself keeps widening, the pressure compounds and you carry it alone. So what is the true cost of carrying it alone? Here's what carrying this pressure alone does over time. It narrows your thinking. A mind under sustained, unacknowledged pressure cannot access its full capacity. You start making decisions from a smaller version of yourself. Not because you are less capable, but because the cognitive and emotional load you are carrying quietly underneath everything is consuming resources that your leadership needs. It also changes how you lead. When you carry this much internally, you become less available to people around you, not physically, but emotionally. You are present in the room, but you are managing something internal at the same time. And the people around you feel that distance, even when they cannot name it. The quality of your leadership is tied up to the way you show up, the way you listen, the way you make people feel seen. All of it quietly diminished by the pressure that was never processed. So here's the diagnosis. So let's name what actually is happening. This is not a weakness. This is not a character flaw. This is what happens when a leader has no legitimate space to process the real weight of what they are carrying. When the feedback they receive is always filtered. When the unity between their inner reality and their outer presentation keep growing. When the leadership becomes a performance sustained entirely by willpower rather by genuine internal support. The pressure does not go away by ignoring it. It goes away by building the kind of structure internally and externally that allows you to carry the weight of leadership without quietly destroying everything underneath. So here's what I want you to take from today. The pressure you are carrying is real, not imagined, not exaggerated. And the fact that nobody around you is acknowledging it does not mean it is not there. It means you have been carrying it in silence for longer than you should have. You were never supposed to carry this alone. The most sustainable leaders are not the ones who carry the most. They are the ones who build something around them that shares the weight. That is the work. So tomorrow we close the week with something that shifts the whole frame. You don't need more motivation. You need clarity. So come back for that one. This week's written brief is the weight audit, and it goes directly into what we've covered today. The pressure leaders carry alone, the performance tasks that drain you before the real work even begin, the eternal weight that never gets processed because there is no legitimate space for it. The weight audit gives you a clinical diagnostics tool, specific and practical, to identify exactly where this pressure is concentrated in your leadership right now and what structure is missing underneath. Not motivation, a diagnosis. So the links is in the show notes or the description. And in the description, which will lead you to the execution room on Patreon. The execution room is a community built for founders, leaders who are carrying this weight and are done carrying it completely alone. So we host weekly brief deep dive episode, framework built around the fulfill leadership method, and a room full of leaders having honest conversation that the performance of leadership never allows. Because part of what makes this pressure so heavy is the silence around it. Inside the execution room, that silence break. So if you want to be part of it, you can access the link in the description or the show note of this episode. If today named something you have been carrying quietly, share this episode with one leader who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone is to show them that what they are feeling privately is not unique to them. Follow the show if you are not already. New episode every weekday under 6 minutes. And drop a comment. Tell me what part of this pressure hits hardest for you. I read every single one of them. So that's it for today's episode. I'll catch you tomorrow for the next episode.